Senator Mike Lee, one of the bulldogs yesterday as the senators were grilling the chief executives of Google, Facebook, and Twitter. Welcome to the program, Senator.
Thank you, Glenn. It's good to be back on your show.
So first of all, can I ask, are we going to hold the Senate?
We are going to hold the Senate. I believe we're going to, because I believe in Winston Churchill's words that the American people will do the right thing after they've exhausted every other alternative. There is no reasonable alternative that involves giving this thing over to the Democrats. When they promised to pack the court, when they have promised to add 2 states to keep a perpetual Democratic majority, when they promised to enact Green New Deal policies and decimate the fossil fuel industry, we can't allow that to happen. So, look, I can't see the future, Glenn, but I can see that the future under Democratic control of the Senate is a dismal one, and we're not going to accept that.
And it's not like the usual, hey, you can't let Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi. These are Constitution busters, are they not?
Absolutely. They are Constitution busters. These are things that would do irreparable harm to our system of government. Take packing the court, for example, Glenn. It's not technically unconstitutional, but it would undo the constitutional fabric. It would completely decimate the way we undertake separation of powers in this country. It would become a political body more than it would be a judicial body. And that's really tragic.
If I'm not mistaken, FDR tried this, and he just wanted a rubber stamp for all of his New Deal policies. And only 34% of the Republican or the Democrats back then stood against it. But it failed. They had control, but it failed. Do you see that kind of spirit at all in the Democratic Party of standing against it?
No, I don't. And Glenn, here's the really upsetting part to me. When FDR trotted this thing out in the fall of 1936 and then introduced the legislation in early 1937, yes, it technically failed. Yes, he technically didn't get it passed, but it ended up leaving a serious dent, made a tragic mark. It resulted in one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse switching sides, Justice Owen Roberts. And they were so scared by this thing that Owen Roberts started rubber stamping his New Deal era legislation. And to this day, we're suffering under the consequences of a Supreme Court that basically relinquished its duty to draw a line between what the Congress has authority to enact under the Commerce Clause and what it doesn't.
So they're also talking about, Joe Biden said that we're not only just looking at that, we're also looking at other options, like the fact that we wouldn't mess with the lifetime appointment, but maybe we would switch Amy Coney Barrett to another court. What is that?
That's a simple word for that. I think the word is unconstitutional. It doesn't work. That's too cute by half. And Joe needs to go back to Domino's in the basement of Delaware. This constitutional analysis, while in the condition that he's in much of the time, doesn't work. And that logic certainly doesn't work.
Could you explain to the American people why the Electoral College is so important?
Okay, so we're not a direct
democracy.
We have embedded within our system certain mediating institutions that are there to make sure that we're not run by the mob. And so we have counter-majoritarian features, including things like the First Amendment and the Fifth Amendment, and including things like the Senate, where each state is equally represented, and where that equal representation among the states is also represented in the way our presidents are chosen. It's not a direct presidential election. If you get rid of the Electoral College, small states like mine become flyover country. They become almost irrelevant, because all of a sudden everybody would spend all their time campaigning in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, and a couple of other cities. And that's it. That's all they would need to win a simple majority, is to campaign in a few very major media markets.
And why is that? Why is that so bad, Mike? I mean, that's where the majority of the people live.
Yeah, it's bad because it overturns the fact that we are a constitutional federal republic. We're not simply a single nation.
Yeah, but what does that really mean? I mean, we all live by majority rule. What's bad? What's wrong with majority rules?
Well, majority rules is a terrible, terrible path to take because it always leads to tyranny. The founding fathers knew this, and so they sought to mediate at every step the implications of mob rule.
Well, wait, majority rules on the Supreme Court. What's the difference?
Yeah. First of all, the Supreme Court's not a policymaking body, at least for now, at least until Joe Biden gets into office and implements his court packing plan. It's not a political body. And so, yes, a majority rules among them. But among the citizenry generally, you need principles governing and you need local government governing. You get rid of the Electoral College. That is a very serious step toward us no longer being 50 semi-sovereign entities operating as one for limited purposes.